Reverend Richard, we have known each other for almost 5 years now. And the reason why the Baha'i community was attracted to the Unity community is how much similarities we have.
The same reason for the Unity movement is being introduced to the Baha'i Faith. It was, we have brothers and sisters that are facing the same direction.
Right. And so, and one of those similarities I remember is the idea that Charles Fillmore, the founder of Unity, was so much in tune with the power of the healing of prayer.
It's foundational to everything we're about.
The foundation of what you're all about. So, for that reason, I'd like to begin with the healing prayer.
Please.
From the Baha'i writings. Thy name is my healing, O my God, and remembrance of thee is my remedy. Nearness to thee is my hope, and love for thee is my companion. Thy mercy to me is my healing and my succor, in both this world and the world to come. Thou verily, O the all-bountiful, the all-knowing, the all-wise. Baha'u'llah. Okay, and the other thing I want to mention is that this is your 5 principles. I have studied your 5 principles, with most of which I agree, and if there are anything that needs to be explained, we'll discuss it and you'll explain it to me.
I'll do my best through my lens.
Wonderful. And also I have attended your class of Introduction to Unity, if you probably remember, and I've attended many of your sermons that I've totally enjoyed. So, and then you probably recall that many times that we go to lunch or I come and visit you, I often say that our paths are so similar. We are truly on the same path. And then I've also mentioned that, I don't know when, but because you're about unity and Baha'i Faith is about oneness, at some point these 2 paths would merge. So this is what I've felt. I've felt with my total being. So with that,
perhaps consider the idea that they've never been separated.
Yes.
They are 2 branches of the same tree. And our job is to simply wake up to the truth that they were never separated to begin with.
Exactly.
And perhaps that same context is true for all spiritual paths. That although they have a unique flavor, a unique perspective, they're still branches, as I believe the Baha'i Faith believes, of one tree.
Right. Yeah, Baha'u'llah says that we are all the fruits and branches of one tree. We absolutely are. Now, what all faiths, particularly Christianity and Baha'i Faith, tell us about this vision of oneness, what Jesus says ultimately would be peace on earth as it is in heaven. That peace on earth, it seems to me, is when we have all come to the reality that there's God within. And that God within is one God, and therefore we have merged with Him. So there are differences of thought, differences of opinion, diversity of thoughts, which is fine. But then diversity at one point would be without animosity, and then that healing would bring them together in some way, some fashion.
And I think what that requires is, first and foremost, an open heart on all sides of the equation.
Yeah.
There must be an open mind, an open heart, and as St. Francis might say, my job is to seek first to understand and then to be understood. To be a receptive environment such that I want to hear you before I have you hear me. And I think in that, if there's a common purpose in that, only good can come from it.
Good can come out of it, exactly. Now, I'm not sure if you have talked about this aspect, that Baha'u'llah teaches that truth, the ultimate truth, is one. And that he also suggests that through clash of ideas, loving clash of ideas, the sparkle of truth comes out. So, because I've known you for this long time, and because I feel your sincerity, and I feel that we are on the same path, that's why I said that, I guess both of us came to this conclusion, that we will openly discuss whatever we think our possible differences.
I think that's the ultimate in the building of trust and relationship. We've had many dialogues where we compared how so similar the two paths are,
Right.
that inevitably we come up to the different ways that the two paths express.
Right.
It's like a multifaceted diamond. We don't say it exactly the same way, yet we're facing the same direction.
Right.
And I think inevitably, if you're in an environment, in a relationship that is growing, whether it be between two men or two faith traditions, inevitably we're going to come to the place where we have to dialogue about those differences.
Right.
And I think the key, as you've stated, is in a loving environment,
Right.
not in an atmosphere of attack or question
Right.
or blaming, but in an atmosphere of helping understand.
Helping understand the inner truth, the deeper truth, which is again one. Now,
Words often get in the way, don't they?
what gets
Words
words?
often get in the way of the understanding that is underneath it.
Yeah.
And unity is very much about what is the intent underneath the word.
Right. Words and prejudices and superstitions. And now, I like to think, and probably from what I've seen from you as well, is that we are trying to do away with whatever prejudices and superstitions are. But we have all grown up in different environments, and a lot of things subconsciously probably are there without us knowing it. But then this loving conversation would lead us to that further purification, it seems to me.
One would hope and pray.
Yes. I have mentioned this passage from Baha'u'llah in one of his books. By the way, I've brought the books. I'll mention a few things about the book, the writings of Baha'u'llah and others. But in on the first page of one of his books, which is called the Book of Servitude, he says, "No man shall attain the shores of the ocean of true understanding, except he be detached from all that is in heaven and on earth." That's an ideal, that's a very difficult ideal. But that ideal that he says in the first page of his book, one of his most important books, which is called the Book of Servitude, is that if you really want to search truth, you have to clear everything and then open with fresh mind.
That's very much in alignment with what we teach here at Unity North. In fact, Sunday's message was about everything that I have known up to the point of where I am today is a wonderful tool that's brought me to this moment. And if I am attached to it, I cannot set it down to discover a new reality, to discover a new truth, an evolving spirituality.